Frank Sinatra and Ava Gardner, Hollywood's most passionate and destructive love. Hollywood's golden age witnessed countless love stories, but none became as legendary as the passionate, turbulent, and ultimately destructive relationship between Frank Sinatra and Ava Gardner. The union of these two icons wasn't just a love story. It was an epic drama that revealed the fragility beneath Hollywood's glittering surface, the tragedy of hearts consumed by passion, and how a man could rise again from his deepest fall. The meeting, destiny or disaster. In the late 1940s, Frank Sinatra was America's most famous crooner. Known as The Voice, Sinatra was a pop culture phenomenon who filled the dreams of millions of women and caused Bobby Soxers to faint. His career was at its peak, he was married, and he was the father of 3 children. His family, with Nancy Barbato, appeared from the outside to be the American dream personified. Ava Gardner was one of Hollywood's rising stars. This extraordinarily beautiful woman from a small North Carolina town was becoming the darling of MGM studios. With her green eyes, black hair, and breathtaking beauty, Ava mesmerized audiences with every appearance on screen. But she too was married. She'd had a brief marriage with singer Artie Shaw and was accustomed to Hollywood's fiery lifestyle. When they first met, electricity sparked between them immediately. The pair met at a party in 1949, and it didn't take long for them to feel drawn to each other. For Sinatra, this was a moment that would change his life forever. Ava's wild spirit, independence, and allure were different from any woman Frank had ever known. For Ava, Sinatra wasn't just a singer, but a soul carrying deep fragility and intense passion. Betrayal and scandal. Frank Sinatra's love for Ava Gardner wasn't an ordinary affair. It was an out-of-control fire that burned everything in its path. His marriage to Nancy Sinatra began to crack. Nancy, with whom he'd been together for over a decade, with whom he'd grown up and raised 3 children, seemed like the foundation of Frank's life. But when Ava Gardner arrived, that foundation was shaken. In 1950, the press caught wind of Sinatra and Gardner's secret relationship. For the conservative America of that era, this was a major scandal. Was a married man leaving his home and children to be with one of Hollywood's most fiery women? Newspaper headlines exploded. Frank Sinatra's image was tarnished. He was no longer that lovable, innocent singer, but seen as a homewrecker, an adulterer. Nancy Sinatra initially resisted. She wanted to forgive her husband, to keep the family together. But Frank's passion for Ava was so powerful that no family bond could stand against it. In 1951, the divorce process was finalized. Frank had risked his career, his family, and his reputation. All he wanted was to be with Ava. Marriage, heaven or hell. In November 1951, Frank Sinatra and Ava Gardner married. The wedding wasn't grand, but took place in a simple ceremony. However, this simplicity was a sign of the stormy journey ahead. Both were strong-willed, both were independent, and both burned with jealousy. Their marriage was troubled from the start. While Ava Gardner's career was ascending, Frank Sinatra's was collapsing. The divorce scandal had alienated his fan base. His vocal cords were strained, and he could no longer sing like before. Concerts were being canceled. Record companies were terminating contracts. The former biggest star was now living through the darkest period of his career. This decline placed a heavy burden on the relationship. Frank jealously watched Ava's rise. Ava, meanwhile, cherished her freedom and was uncomfortable with Frank's controlling manner. Violent fights began between the pair. Glasses were broken, shouting echoed through hotel rooms at midnight. Then they would reconcile, coming together again with the intensity of their passion for each other. Frank loved Ava madly. This love both lifted him to the highest heights and dragged him to the deepest depths. He wanted Ava to belong only to him, but Ava wasn't that kind of woman. She was free, headstrong, and didn't want to answer to anyone. Collapse and dark days. The years, 1952 to 1953, were a complete nightmare for Frank Sinatra. His career had never been this bad. No one was listening to him anymore. He wasn't getting applause on stages like before. His money had run out, debts were piling up. The man who once earned millions was now unable to make payments. He fell into depression. It's said that suicidal thoughts even crossed his mind. His relationship with Ava was also becoming increasingly toxic. They were both hurting each other. Their love was both fuel and poison. Ava began seeing other men. Perhaps she wanted revenge to make Frank jealous. Frank, meanwhile, was tracking Ava's every move, his paranoia at its peak. But right in this dark period, an unexpected door opened. Fred Zinnemann, director of From Here to Eternity, was looking for an actor for a small but important role. Frank fought for this role, pleaded, even agreed to work for almost nothing. Finally, he got the role, and filming began in 1953. Frank Sinatra poured all his pain, fragility, and desperation into this role on screen. His performance was so impressive that he won the Best Supporting Actor Oscar at the 1954 ceremony. This was his turning point. His career was reborn. He signed with Capitol Records. His albums broke records. With Songs for Young Lovers, Swing Easy, and the legendary albums that followed, Frank Sinatra became the king of Hollywood. Once again. Separation. The beginning of the end. As his career soared, the marriage collapsed. In 1953, while Ava Gardner was filming The Barefoot Contessa in Spain, the distance between her and Frank wasn't just physical. They had grown emotionally distant, too. Both were exhausted. The fire of their passion was now burning them, not warming them. In 1957, the divorce was finalized. But neither ever fully escaped this relationship. Frank Sinatra never forgot Ava Gardner throughout his life. It's said he carried her photo in his wallet and murmured her name even on his deathbed. Ava also described Frank as the love of my life, years later. Legacy. The traces of love and pain. Frank Sinatra's most iconic albums were born from the pain he experienced with Ava. Albums like In the Wee Small Hours, Only the Lonely, and Where Are You were songs of a broken heart. In every note, every lyric, there was his longing for Ava, his loss and melancholy. Listeners heard not just songs, but raw emotions flowing from a man's soul. Ava Gardner never lost her freedom. Her career continued. She lived her life as she wanted. But she too couldn't forget what she experienced with Frank. Being with him was hell, but being without him was even worse, she said in an interview. The story of Frank Sinatra and Ava Gardner is proof of how powerful, destructive, and transformative love can be. This relationship dragged Sinatra to his darkest places while also carrying him to his greatest artistic achievements. The most dramatic love story of Hollywood's golden age reminds us, some loves burn you, some recreate you. Sinatra and Ava's did both. If you enjoyed learning about this passionate, dramatic, and true Hollywood story, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and leave a comment sharing your thoughts. I'll continue discovering more legends for you,